put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning in studio, and we speak with Senator Ancil Dennis. Yes, he is in studio this morning, and we're going to be talking about Tobago's autonomy. Yes, that's a conversation that has been in the atmosphere for quite some time, and of course, we have to go through the paces to get to where we want to be. And so this morning, we're going to begin the conversation. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adanna. Good morning to your listeners and viewers of Tobago Updates. It's always a pleasure being here.
Of course, a pleasure having you here as well. And of course, talking about a topic that has been in the space for quite some time. And of course, the average onlooker having their opinion, voicing their opinion, and of course, the conversation in the spaces with the decision makers as well. And so we're here at a point where we have two bills and we are in a place where we have to determine, are we going to accept the bills? Is it going to move forward? Where are we and what do we want to do where it's concerned? And of course, we've heard you saying that the bills aren't perfect, but they got us to some place. We're here now. We have something that we could work with. So talk us through your position as to where we are and where you think we can go with the bills as they are right now.
Definitely. Well, let me start by saying we always say that the bills aren't perfect, but I think we also need to ask ourselves the question whether or not it is possible to achieve a perfect piece of legislation. And my answer to that is no. Because in a democracy especially, we're always going to have diverging views and opinions, diverse opinions on this matter of autonomy. And not just autonomy, but there are even some people in Tobago who believe that we should be a federal system. There are some who believe that we should be a confederation. And there are others who are actually supporting severing ties completely from the sister isle Trinidad. So everybody will have a different view. And even those who continue to support the existence of a unitary state, they will have varying opinions on what should be, whether we should have two chambers or a unicameral arrangement, whether we should have the direct election of a chief secretary rather than what obtains presently. So there will always be diverging and diverse views and opinions on this matter and on any matter as a fact when it comes to a democracy. It's a free country, people are free to talk, etc. And therefore it is impossible to design a bill or to come up with a legislation that will get 100% support from everybody. So I want to say that from the very beginning. But it is my firm view that the bills currently before the Parliament will bring significant benefits to the people of Tobago, not just to the Tobago Island government, but to the people of Tobago. And as we observe what is happening, I want us to pay specific attention to some of those benefits and do the comparisons with what we have now. And I will basically want to talk about two specific areas, and the first area really is the money. And we have been hearing time and time again, even this current administration complaining that they don't have enough money and they want some more money and all of that, even while in my opinion they continue to flagrantly mismanage what they have available. And I will admit that even when the PNM was in office, we felt that we could have done better with some more money. And we have a bill that moves the minimum allocation to the Tobago House of Assembly from the national budget from 4.03% to 6.8% in the context of the new Tobago Island government. And what will that mean in dollars and cents? It means that the allocation last September of $2.559 billion could actually be $4.06 billion if that law was in effect. And even with additional responsibilities, because the bills also give Tobago additional responsibilities, and let me just pause to correct some misinformation that has been placed into the public domain by the Deputy Chief Secretary, where she suggested a couple days ago on CNC3 that these bills will take away the responsibilities that we currently have. This is not so. If you go and you read the bill, you will see in Schedule 1, you will see a list of responsibilities for which the Tobago Island government will have exclusive administrative oversight. And if you compare that Schedule 1 to the current THE Act under Schedule 5, where we have 33 areas of responsibilities, you will recognize that the same 33 areas in the current THE Act reappear in this new legislation, and there are some additional areas of responsibility. So I just want to correct that no responsibilities have been taken away. As a matter of fact, responsibilities have been added. So even with the additional administrative responsibilities, the expenditure on the recurrent side in Tobago should not exceed $2.5 billion. And that is a very liberal, broad estimate. It's not conservative at all. Even if you add 2, 3, or even 4 divisions and you create vacancies there and you hire staff to fill those vacancies and to discharge those administrative responsibilities, according to the new bill, you must have a division of legal affairs to be managed by a secretary of legal affairs. So you definitely have to have that one additional division. And even if you add 2 or 3 others, $2.5 billion maximum on the recurrent side, which means that the development spend could be a minimum of $1.5 billion. Now let's look at that in the context of Tobago. Currently, the maximum any THE administration has been able to expend on development for the last 10 years has been about $500 million annually thereabout. Although the allocation is a little less than that, we know that if you suppress your recurrent expenditure, you can utilize that recurrent expenditure on the development side in the following year. And that is how we have managed, when we were in office, to increase our development spend. So currently, as I said, it's about $500 million per year on average. I am not sure that this administration has managed to spend more than that. So let's leave it at $500 million per year. These bills will move the development availability of funds from currently $500 million per year to $1.5 billion per year. That is the money you will get in an entire term. You're getting it in one fiscal year to do development in Tobago. Now, what is the development budget? That is the money that is used to fix the roads, pave the roads, build the drains, build new roads, build community centers, sporting facilities. That is the money that was used to build the Milford Road Esplanade, the cultural complex, the library, the Victor E. Bruce Financial Complex, the hospital in Roxborough, the fire station, the police station. All of that is included in your development expenditure. Can you imagine a situation where we in Tobago are able to move that from just about $500 million per year to $1.5 billion per year? Can you imagine what that will do to the economy of Tobago, especially if you have an administration that has as their policy that the money will be spent in Tobago, utilizing Tobago contractors, utilizing Tobago talent, Tobago skills, Tobago labor, Tobago businesses, Tobago contractors to conduct that development? Can you imagine $1.5 billion circulating amongst business people and amongst the economy of Tobago suddenly from $500 million?
Can I ask you, in your capacity, if you were in governance right now, when the PNM was the administrator for the THE at this point in time, having 1.5 billion as the development budget, what are some of the priority projects you will go ahead with?
Well, firstly, I think Tobago needs a marina urgently, and perhaps that is something that the government may have to invest in. Of course, we welcome foreign direct investment. We're getting it in the form of the Marriott Hotel, although it's a local investor investing his money into that. We attracted it earlier on with the Sandals Resort, and although the government was prepared to build that hotel, the Sandals people would have had to invest tremendously in that hotel establishment as well, in terms of the branding, in terms of the marketing, in terms of the human resource and designing it and all that kind of thing. So definitely a marina. I think we need as well a new cruise ship a terminal designated specifically to cruise ship. I think we could also invest in some new sites and attractions. I think we can upgrade the botanical gardens. We can upgrade other areas. We could treat with Scarborough as well, improving Scarborough. We could invest in agriculture. We could invest in our education, the Scarborough Secondary School. We always talk about this University of Tobago. My vision for that is that we have organizations within Tobago or plans in Tobago that could cater to tertiary education in at least 5 areas. The Kendall Farm School could cater to agriculture. We could improve THTI to treat with tourism and hospitality. We can invest in another building somewhere, another plant somewhere to treat with the marine sciences and coral reef studies and marine studies and that sort of thing. And of course, we have the cultural complex, and that can lend itself to education in the creative sector, right? So all those things, $1.5 billion, any island government that is responsible enough for that kind of allocation can tremendously accelerate Tobago's development in a number of ways. Even thinking just about your road maintenance, the fact that we're currently complaining about a lot of potholes, $1.5 billion per year managed well will allow a Tobago Island government, once they are responsible enough, to address that issue in a major way.
Quite recently, we heard Dr. Faith B. Israel talking about what are some of the things Tobagonians want to see in the bill. And one of the primary things she spoke about was the definition of Tobago, the Tobago Space.
That is,
and so I want to talk a little bit about that.
So that is what Faith wants to see in the bill. Because one of the things we must dismiss quite decisively is where a number of Tobagonians in their individual capacity think that they are speaking for the people of Tobago, and that is not so, right? You have, for example, the leader of the IDEA recently claiming to be speaking on behalf of the people of Tobago. What gives her that right? Even Dr. Faith, what gives her that right to speak for the people of Tobago? What exactly do the people of Tobago want?
But what gives anybody the right to speak on behalf of the people of Tobago?
And that is my point. So the fact remains, we had these consultations over several years, donkey years, right? We were led down a particular path by a previous PNM administration, who of course partnered with people like Ochoy Charles, where they put aside the political hats and they established the Forum of Political Parties. And that culminated with the formulation of a bill that went to the Parliament, placed unchanged before a joint select committee of the Parliament. Well, before it got to the Parliament, it went to the Cabinet, and then the Prime Minister placed it in a joint select committee unchanged. That joint select committee comprises PNM people, opposition people, independent people, with the support of legal experts, not only from this country, but from across the region and perhaps the world. They looked at the bills and they engaged in a period of negotiation and discussion and studying this issue. And we now have these recommendations. Now, different people, as I said before, will want and support different things. And if we stay here trying to come up with a bill that pleases everybody and every political party, because there are things that I personally would like to see in the bill that's not in the bill, but that's my personal opinion. And I wouldn't come and voice my personal view upon the people of Tobago, because if everybody wants their personal view to be advanced, we will be here forever trying to find a perfect bill that pleases everybody, right? So in terms of the definition of Tobago, Tobagonians must understand, firstly, that this fight has never been about secession for the majority of us. That I can say safely, that the people of Tobago do not want secession or independence from Trinidad. Are there people in Tobago who want that? Yes. Will those people go publicly and say they want that and this is what the people of Tobago want? Yes, some of them have done that. But I will say absolutely no. So in terms of the definition of Tobago, it has to be done within the confines of a unitary state. there is this argument about 200 nautical miles. And the question I want to put to the people of Tobago is, what is the benefit of claiming 200 nautical miles as an island if you're not going independent? Now, if you're going independent, you need your own resources, you need your own space to police, you will have your own borders, you will need your own coast guard, you will have your resources within there, you will have to formulate your relationships with your energy companies and stuff like that to explore those resources. So if you're going independent, definitely. But if you're part of the unitary state, then under that arrangement, all the resources across the country, the marine resources within our 200 nautical miles as a country, belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So the issue really is how much of those resources or how much of the revenue from those resources we should have in Tobago. That is the discussion we need to have. The bill proposes 6.8% of the national spend at this point in time, which I find is very acceptable. A lot can be done with that. There are some who will want more, and that is fine. Maybe in the future, 5-10 years down the road, it might be 10%, it might be 15%. There's a fiscal review commission in place that is responsible for reviewing that arrangement on a yearly basis. And depending on the circumstances, God forbid we are affected by some natural disaster, obviously a case can be made for more than the 6.8% minimum. So that is the argument I can understand. But the argument can be 200 nautical miles, this is Tobago resources, or this is Tobago, and this is Trinidad, and this is Trinidad resources. That to me is a conversation about independent. You take your resources, I take mine, and we go our separate ways. If we are part of a unitary state, the resources belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and the conversation is on what percentage or what block grant or what formula or whatever you want to call it will determine Tobago's share in this arrangement. Now, in terms of the administrative responsibilities, because you now have a proposal for an island government, one, that will have tremendous administrative responsibilities across Tobago, including for the environment, including for agriculture and fisheries, and you also have a Tobago legislature that will have exclusive lawmaking authority for some of those areas, then we need to define that area where Tobago laws will apply and where the Tobago Executive Council or the Tobago Island government will have power to make decisions. And in the bill, it is 11 nautical miles. Currently, we only have that administrative responsibility for 6 nautical miles. So again, I want to dispel that misinformation, because there are some leaders right here in Tobago saying that the bill takes away our maritime responsibilities. That is not so. And there are people in the public saying that Tobago only responsible for the sun and where the waves breaking. That is not so. If you look at the bill, the area delineated for our exclusive administrative responsibility is 11 nautical miles. In the current THE Act, it is 6. So which means 5 have been added. Nothing has been taken away.
Do you think, Senator Dennis, that the average Tobagonian is educated enough about the bills and what autonomy means for us here in Tobago?
No, unfortunately so. And that is why, as a responsible political party, we took the responsibility for engaging in several public discussions. We started with a political meeting in Color Hall on the 3rd of November. Then we tapered that down into a town hall arrangement. We had one in Belgarden on the 16th of November, and we had another one last Saturday. Last Saturday at the Buku Community Center, where people had the opportunity to ask questions. We gave explanations. We responded to all the concerns from Tobagonians. And then, of course, we had a youth forum last night, and I was tremendously proud to sit amongst 2 of the rising stars within the PNM, Justin John, who recently was accepted to the bar as a lawyer, and Jada Charles, who is also a law student currently at Hugh Wooding Law School. And I heard those young people state their case based on research, based on information, and they advanced their opinions, solid opinions on this matter. And therefore, we decided that it is necessary for the PNM as a political organization to put the correct information. And there are some who are saying, oh, we're politicizing the thing and we're politicizing the thing. I make no apologies for that, because there are others who are doing the opposite, spreading misinformation, spreading inaccurate information, trying to advance their own personal political agenda. And we in the PNM believe that we must take responsibility for advancing the Tobago agenda. Because guess what? You have two options, Either the bills pass or the bills don't pass. If the bills pass, we get all the benefits. If the bills don't pass, guess what? We will sit here with our Act 40 of 1996. Parliament and others will continue to complain that they do have money, they do have this, they do have that. Of course, they have money to travel and do all kinds of unnecessary things. Right? But they will continue to complain, and Vanas will be in his corner talking about, what does he talk about again? Federal system. This other one, trying to remember his name, my good friend Anthony James, he will continue to talk about confederation, and Watson Duke and others will continue to talk about secession and independence. And Faith and Farley don't have a clue what they're talking about, so they will continue to confuse the people of Tobago. And all of that will continue. And everybody will try to advance their own personal opinion on what Tobago should be like. And we will sit here with Act 40 of 1996, and the island will continue to be under-resourced, as we like to say, without autonomy, because we don't have autonomy. Currently, the 15 assemblymen that Tobagonians get up early mornings on THA election day to go out and vote for, and they dress up nice in jacket and tie, and some of them in African garbs, and they go to that place up at Unningham Street. Do you know that they cannot pass one law on behalf of the people of Tobago? We want that to continue. Highly paid assemblymen go into a house, and the most they could do is pass motion after motion after motion, and there are issues in Tobago that require legislative intervention, and these people cannot pass one law. That's what we want to continue. We must ask ourselves those questions.
Senator Dennis, I'm so happy that you came in this morning to go through the paces as it relates to the autonomy for Tobago, and of course, being part of educating people as to what autonomy means for Tobago and the bills that are presently before the committee, their committee stage, as we are aware. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. I wish we had more time to continue the conversation this morning as well, but we're so happy to have you, ladies and gentlemen. We've been speaking with Senator Ancil Dennis this morning as we spoke about autonomy for Tobago. What does it actually mean? And do you have the information? I suggest you get your hands on the two bills and read it in its entirety, so you can understand what is being discussed at the committee level, so we can move forward with autonomy for Tobago. We have to go for a quick break before we come back. And as we go for a break, of course, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.